what I'm going to do right now is going to cut into data of political stock exchange, where we've done a sample test because viewers, there was so much, and this has been conducted, let me remind you, by C Voter, because there was so much talk, commentary, when it came down to the minority vote. There were apprehensions where the Muslim vote was also concerned, that many of them will lose or be disenfranchised where their voting rights are concerned, especially where it came down to the Seemanchal belt. What we've done, have conducted a quick snap poll. I'm going to quickly give out the first 3 questions, and in this we've divided our respondents in categories of Muslims, others, and then of course you'll have a total figure. I want to quickly go on to our first question that was posed by C Voter to the respondents. How important is Muslim vote in Bihar elections? Very important, 80.5%. Understandably, that answer was by Muslim respondents. Others say 44%, nearly 50% of the respondents who are part of the Bihar electorate seem to suggest that the Muslim vote is key. Therefore, if you infer from that, if you cut that vote, that could very well be problematic to certain vote banks and parties. Will Waqf bill impact your voting decision? This was also a question that was posed. The answer to that, Muslims 68.1% responded yes it will, 42.9% said of the others said yes it will, total 47.4%. So about 47.4%, which is close to the 50% mark, feel that their voting choice in the election in Bihar will be impacted by the Waqf bill. How important is caste identity in your voting decision? Very important. Muslims 46.2%, others 37%. Interesting, in a state like Bihar, only 38.7% have told us that caste identity, in fact, is key when it comes down to voting patterns, because usually what we've seen is contrary empirical evidence on ground, where usually that election in Bihar are dominated by caste. But this figure is contrary to that. Then, opinion on BJP's outreach efforts to Muslim voters. Has the BJP been able to reach out to the Muslim vote? Muslims only feel 16.2% of the respondents feel in the Muslim respondents who we spoke to, that yes, the BJP has reached out. 25.4% say no. Others say that they have reached out. Overall, 23.8%. That's it. Of the total respondents in Bihar that were asked this question feel that the BJP has done a good job in reaching out to the minority vote bank. Most actually feel it's symbolism. Look at the third line from there, where 50.8% of Muslims feel it's symbolism, and about 37% of others also feel it's purely symbolic. That means it's an eyewash. I want to quickly cut across immediately to our panelists this evening, and I'd like to begin this time with Amitabh Tiwari. Amitabh Tiwari, you'll get a 2-minute time. Interesting, keeping in mind all the caste calculations, permutations, the importance of the Muslim vote, the percentage of the Muslim votes. What do these numbers speak to you?
So see, obviously the Muslim vote is important, and that's what the survey shows, because around 17 to 18% of the population is Muslim population. However, if you look at the 32 seats where they are a dominant force in 2020, the NDA won 18 of them, the Mahagathbandhan 8, and 6 went to, or 5 went to the AIMIM. So polarization plays a big role wherever the Muslim population is high. Even if you see the districts or the administrative zones where the Muslim population is high, starting from Purnia, the Mahagathbandhan lost to NDA. The second part is that Waqf will play a role, but I think Waqf, only less than 50% people are agreeing to the fact that Waqf is going to play a big role. I don't think it's going to be a very big matter. On the basis of caste, I think you said almost 30% said very important, I think 30, but if you add, or rather 39% said very important. But if you add somewhat important also, you get a number of 60%. And in 2018, when the Aziz Premji University did a survey, almost 57% people in Bihar said that they prefer the leader of their own caste group. So caste plays a very, very important role. The other side to look at it is that 47% people, or rather here in your survey also almost 40% people say that they would be voting on different lines, which could be development issues, etc., which is an encouraging factor in that way. With regard to the Muslim outreach of the BJP, however, I think despite efforts being made by the BJP and despite their claims that almost 30 to 35% of beneficiaries of central government schemes as well as state government schemes belong to the Muslim community, uh, only 35% of the people say that the efforts of the BJP are sincere or
Right.
somewhat sincere. Still around
Well, you're
40
right there, Amitabhji. If you actually,
symbolic.
when you talk about, will you vote on caste, somewhat important, 21%, and if you club it all together, it falls about 55 to 60% in between is what Bihar thinks. But interesting numbers there. Sanju Verma, no matter what you try, no matter how many Muslim outreach programs the BJP embarks on, forget about the Muslims, at least in Bihar, even others are not buying it.
Preeti, now I hope you will not interrupt me. You have a thick skin as a journalist and you always ask me tough questions. But there's a video of yours which has gone viral. And I'm so glad about it. And I was just looking at it. You were saying prior to the Maharashtra elections, I could not find a single BJP supporting voice in Marathwada. And the BJP won 4-0, 40 seats from Marathwada in the Maharashtra assembly elections. The dot alliance, as in Mahavinash Agadi, won a royal 5 seats. So Preeti, with no offense to you, you are a dear friend. The fact is that let's not get ahead of ourselves. Point number 1. मराठवाड़ा में प्रीति चौधरी ने जो बोला था, हकीकत उसके बिल्कुल विपरीत opposite थी. Now let me talk about what Ashutosh said. He said what Election Commission is doing is extraordinary, exceptional, dangerous, and Election Commission needs to be accountable. Ashutosh Gupta, Election Commission is a constitutional body. It is not accountable to Rahul Gandhi, who's now behaving like a street hooligan, saying, "Mere paas atom bomb hai." If you have any decency, please question the leader of opposition who showcases lack of basic decency. Now the third point. Amitabh Tiwari made an interesting point that the Muslim outreach might be, 35% plus in terms of penetration, but BJP ka kuch hoga nahi. So yaad dila do. While this is a different state, Kundarki, Uttar Pradesh, 65% Muslim population, bypoll held in October 2024. BJP defeated its nearest rival from Samajwadi Party, a Muslim, by 1.45 lakh votes. Ranveer Singh Thakur of the BJP won Kundarki with a 65% Muslim population, and Mohammad Rizwan and 10 other Muslim candidates ko muh ki khani padi. So BJP has made
Ma'am, your time is up. Ma'am, but, I'm glad that you touched on, what I allegedly said during Maharashtra, because I'll tell you, I have taken you for a very, very intelligent woman. You're one of my favorite panelists on television, and I would have thought you would not have fallen for IT cell clip cutters, even if they come from your own party. I really would have hoped you wouldn't have fallen for that. I'll send you the real clip. Watch the entire clip. I want to cut across right now to from the Congress spokesperson, Professor Suraj Mandal. Professor Suraj Mandal, if you look at this, then, it cuts both ways. Number one, yes, that there is cause for concern if the minority vote back is dented, because it is between 17 to 19% where Bihar is concerned. And the immediate consequence will be faced by the Mahagathbandhan, which is the RJD and the Congress.
You have not given us figures, but we know amongst the votes which has been cut down, maximum votes belong to minorities, Dalits, backwards, and extremely backward classes. Apart from that, what we had our panelist from BJP saying in what happened in Maharashtra, everybody knows now how Maharashtra election was won. And in Uttar Pradesh, Muslims were not allowed to vote. Everything is open before the people. But okay, let's speak only about Bihar. In Bihar, now the situation is such that though every time you hear the rhetoric of this constitutional body, but what is this constitutional body doing? It is not doing, adding to the faith of the people. It had the duty and obligation to see to it that all its actions are above board. What they are doing is just an organized way of rigging the poll, which was earlier done in few booths. The whole system is now being rigged. And this has come to the light. In several, our friend was asking for some proof. Those proofs are out. It's not just what Rahulji said today. And then the simple words which we have the panelists saying hooliganism to a national leader of opposition. We know what BJP people do. And every day in Bihar, the issue is not just the caste leaders. The issue is the galloping state of crime in the state of Bihar. And apart from that, 71,000 crores of loot by the BJP JDU government. So all these issues are there. Every time people need not go to their only caste leaders. They know what is hitting them, how the whole system is being, the constitutional is being held to ransom in Bihar. And that is why whatever the opposition is doing, I think it is the only way for them to...
Sir, your time is up. Your fader is going to go down. We won't be able to hear you. Before I get in Ashutosh ji and Karan in the studio with me, I want to quickly go through the next set of data, 3 questions, and then we'll be back with our panelists. Can India alliance effectively represent Muslim interests in Bihar? Was a question that was asked to the respondents. Because viewers, you'll have to read out the larger picture in all of this in the backdrop of the special intensive role revision. In that question, can India alliance effectively represent Muslim interests in Bihar? Yes. 44.3 Muslims feel that it is the India alliance. 41.3 others, 41.8% feel in totality yes. No, 31.9% Muslims, 29.9% others, and total 30.3%. Don't know, 23.8%, 28.8%, 27.9% there. The second question that was also asked, is Tejaswi's threat to boycott polls right to oppose SIR? Nearly 45% of Muslim respondents say yes, it's right. Others, 37.4%, 38.7% feel that yes, that Tejaswi is right in suggesting there's a possibility of poll boycott. If you look at the answer no, it falls pretty much at 37.2%, but the figure differs where the Muslims and others are concerned there. Should Parliament debate SIR controversy? Something that the opposition is constantly demanding in Parliament, that a debate happen on the special intensive role revision. 72.1% Muslim respondents feel yes. 53.7% others feel yes. Total 57.1% of respondents feel yes, Parliament should debate. Only 24% of respondents feel that Parliament should not debate. I just want to, before we go to Ashutosh ji and Karan, want to give out what the government stand is. The government says we really cannot debate the special intensive role revision in Parliament because it's not our purview. It's the purview of a constitutional body that is external to us, which is the Election Commission. Therefore, we cannot debate SIR in Parliament, is what the government says. What do you make of these figures, Ashutosh ji? 2 minutes.
Preeti, I think a different electoral algorithm needs to be invented. Because the Muslim voter voting in block, I think that has become an old one. That has become antiquity. The new algorithm should try to understand that how the upper caste is voting. And what I had gone through, I can tell you that there are 2 clear social blocks. One social bloc is voting for the BJP, and other social bloc is voting for the opposition. The upper caste, lock, stock and barrel today, they are voting for BJP, and in a state like UP, they are voting more than 85% to the BJP, where the Muslim lock, stock and barrel, they are voting for Samajwadi Party and the Congress. Across the country, upper caste is totally aligned with the BJP, and the Muslims are aligned with the opposition. So when we try to map how the Muslims are going to vote and which direction they are going to vote, there is an outreach program. This should also be another category where how the upper caste mood is going to define the elections. Now, the real competition between the political parties, SC, ST and the OBCs. Now, whichever the political party try to get a large section among them, certainly becomes the winner in the elections. BJP since 2014 have been successfully getting SC, ST and the OBC's vote bank. But since 2024 parliamentary election, if you see, there is a fragmentation in that support to the BJP itself. So I am only saying it, the next time if we do something like a stock exchange, political stock exchange, it will be interesting to map how the upper caste is going to behave in this election. and what will be their role whether they will play a decisive role in the Bihar election. About the data itself, see, I have no my only submission is that the caste identity becomes less important only if there is a very strong anti-incumbency against the incumbent government, which I could see that there is a strong anti-incumbency, but will it neutralize the caste identity? That has to be seen.
All right, Karan, your 2 minutes. Go ahead.
So, first of all, I take very strong objection to the Congress spokesperson, the kind of language he used, that Muslims were not allowed to vote in the bypolls. How they won in Maharashtra, we all know. Blaming everything on EC, I think that's in very, very bad taste. There have been elections that the Congress party has won, and it's won a lot of elections. Telangana, Karnataka, Himachal, to name a few. So that is in extreme bad taste. Secondly, you discussed that why is the SIR not being discussed in the parliament? This is rule number 352 of the Lok Sabha Rules of Procedure, which says that anything that's pending or sub judice in the courts cannot be discussed. That is the reason, one, why it's not being discussed, because it's still up there in the Supreme Court, and also because the party in power is not a party to it. It's the Election Commission, which in itself is a constitutional body, which needs to do the answering. And they've tried to engage with the opposition has failed to do that. That is another thing. Now, as far as the caste calculus, I'm surprised that despite all the aspersions that have been cast on the BJP as being anti-Muslim, they'll strip you of your constitutional rights and all of that, only 42% are still believing that the India alliance is a suitable option for them. What does it tell you? The fact is, Preeti, they've only used them as a vote bank. They failed to deliver. Who has encroached the maximum lands of all the Kabristans in Bihar? It's Lalu's party. So many of them are convicted of that. When someone like Tejaswi, who's there in the land for job scam, and he suddenly comes out and says, Shahabuddin Amar Rahe, a man who's been convicted, a man who burnt alive another individual for a piece of land, that shows you the mindset of appeasement that has existed for so long. I mean, how far will you go down on this road of appeasement where you'll cast BJP as a pariah, not do anything for the development, loot them of their lands, and then ask for votes? So it shows that the people, even the Muslims, are not buying in on this anymore after suffering at their hands. As far as the caste calculus, I think Rahul Gandhi and the entire opposition has resorted to brazen caste politics, but alas, it's not going to work. I believe it's going to be development that's going to trump over caste politics.
All right, all the time that I have for now, I've been told I have to tease my own show over the weekend, which I really don't mind, but I'll give 10 seconds each to the BJP and the Congress. So yeah, Sanju Verma, 10 seconds, and I'll go to the Congress spokesperson for 10 seconds, but please keep it in that.
In my 10 seconds, I would just like to say, Touche, Preeti is one of my favorite journalists, but I say it as it is, and I'm happy that on her show, my voice is not muted. Unlike other shows, जब कुछ journalist को अच्छा न लगे, तो भाई panelist की voice mute कर दो. So, I will just say, Rahul Gandhi, आपके पास जो atom bomb है, गिराइए, but stop behaving like a juvenile delinquent. Start behaving like a responsible leader of opposition. नहीं तो 2020 में तो छोड़ो, 2034 में भी आप प्रधानमंत्री नहीं बनोगे.
Professor Mandal,
कर सुन लो.
20 seconds, sir. Go ahead, make your point.
Just now, one gentleman was having objections to what I said, but he didn't have any objections to the word we use for the leader of opposition as hooligan. Anyway, I reject all those things. Secondly, let us be very sure that this fact and figure that all the Kabristan land is being looted by Lalu's party is a mere fiction of imagination of this chap. It is not there, certainly not there. You come with all these fake figures just to spread a narrative.
I'm sorry, okay. I'm sorry, Professor Mandal, that's all the time we have for now.